6 Trades Licensing Board meeting. I'll take the roll. Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Reeves.
Here.
Mr. Panitsky.
Here.
Mr. Newber. Mr. Dietrich.
Here.
Mr. Ziwi. Mr. Sessler.
Here.
Mr. Schaaf.
Here.
Mr. Hollern. Mr. Collins. Mr. Yatsko.
Here.
And the chair is present. Roll call has been taken. You were all notified publicly of the meeting minutes. If there's no objection, I'll take a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes. A motion is made by Mr. Panitsky. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sessler. Is there any questions on the motion? Any questions on the motion? Being that there's none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Secretary report. There is no secretary report. Correspondence. I'll read the correspondence for the meeting. Mr. Mitchell Lobaugh submitted a letter of intent regarding the reinstatement of his journeyman electrician license that has been lapsed since 2020. Mr. Lobaugh will be attending the meeting to answer any questions we may have. Mr. Lobaugh has held a license with the City of Erie since 2014 through 2020. Mr. Lobaugh will pay all back fees if board approves reinstatement. Mr. David Dye submitted a letter of intent regarding the reinstatement of the master electrician license as well as waiving the late fees of $3,200. Mr. Dye has held a license with the City of Erie since in 2017 and 2018. Last, Mr. Joshua Ortiz would like to obtain a journeyman license with the City of Erie. Mr. Ortiz feels his experience in education and degree is enough to obtain a license with us. That's a correspondence. I skipped the public comment section, so now I'm going to go back to that. I will now open up the meeting for public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Is there anyone here for public comment? Make sure you state your name and your address, please.
Yes, Justin Konecki at 404 West Palm, Edinburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm not really sure what I'm doing here today.
Get that mic a little closer. There you go.
Sorry.
We can't really hear you. Go
All right.
ahead.
I'm not really sure what I'm doing here today. I was told to come here from Rick Simonian.
Okay.
I finished my schooling to get my journeyman's. Everything was complete as far as I know. Been in the trade for 10 years. Never really had to file anything. So.
Okay. Since you're standing there, just hang there for a minute. We'll just go right into your application, if that's okay with Christie. That way, if we have a question for you, we can ask it.
Yes, sir.
I'm just looking at his work history, that's all. So, it looks like you did your due diligence when you submitted your application,
Yes, sir.
because you have all your work history from 2019 all the way up to present. You're presently employed with Simonian, right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. You got your educational hours at IEC?
Yes, sir.
So in the 4 years, you've completed 8,000 hours of on-the-job training?
Yes, sir. I've done that and plus more. I graduated with like 90%.
Okay.
So basically, you never paid any apprenticeship fees?
The company I work for is supposed to be doing that since I started. I've never missed a deadline on anything I've ever done. I've completed 4 years of school with 6 children in my care. Never once had to do this. Rick and, excuse me, Diane have had trouble finding a secretary, and I believe there's been some things that have fallen through the cracks since then. I apologize if it was on my behalf, but this is something I've never applied for here.
Right.
Through them, they usually do all the filing. I am aware that as a journeyman, that's something that's required by me, but
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of what you said. Did you say that Rick usually takes care of registering you every year? Is
yeah,
that
Rick and
correct?
Diane,
And it kind of fell through the cracks?
We don't have a secretary. We can't find one that's a decent
Okay.
worker.
So what years is he missing? 20, 21, 22?
21 is the last time he
Okay.
held the current license.
So he'd owe 21, 22, 23, and 24.
22.
Oh, 22, 23, 24. And he's not paid this year, right?
Was he a licensed apprentice or journeyman?
I was a licensed apprentice, sir.
So you never got your journeyman license?
No, this is the only thing holding it up from what I understand.
Is he applying for master or journeyman?
Journeyman.
Oh, journeyman, okay, I thought I said master,
No,
okay.
journeyman. So I believe the rule is from the code office that when you miss paying your license, it's double the fee, correct? So do you have any objection on paying?
No,
The
as far
back
as I'm
fees?
concerned, that's under the company I work under, so
Okay,
whatever the charge is, if it fell through the cracks and it was on them, I'll
okay.
take care of whatever the cost is. I need to get this in my livelihood, sir.
Or you can be reimbursed by your employer. I
Yeah,
imagine.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
think
say-
technically you're responsible for the,
Yeah.
Every company's different.
Yeah,
Every
exactly. And
company's
if you've
different.
paid it in, and if they were taking out $5, $10 a week to pay for it for a year or whatever, they already took that monies from you, they should have.
Regardless, it's my livelihood. It's $300, sir. It's not going to make or break the bank. I just need my licensing to
Sure.
Well,
move forward in my career.
I don't see anything wrong with this application. He has the 8,000 hours required
Yep.
by the ordinance. He has the educational, you went to IEC?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he has the apprenticeship required education hours. So I don't see anything wrong with his application, so I'll make the motion to approve his application.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Dietrich. Are there any questions on the motion? Any questions on the motion? Being that there's none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Just pay your back fees and you can
All
be
right. How
scheduled.
would I get those paid up?
I'm sorry?
How do I get those paid up? I'm not familiar.
You need to speak with Christie
Okay, awesome.
and she can help you with that.
All right, thank you very much.
Sounds like a COVID drop.
Yeah,
yeah, right?
probably.
We had a lot of those, unfortunately.
I think a lot of things went away for a minute.
A lot of things went away for a while there. during
And then you
COVID.
forget about it.
Well, and then it's like, oh, we're back to normal. What's normal?
Yeah, right. More of it. We didn't even do inspections for months.
It's crazy.
Hey, well, that's crazy.
Okay. Who's next?
Well, you got your correspondence is,
We're out of public comment. There's no, oh, I'm sorry. Is there any other public comment? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
Mitchell Loba, 9124 Hammett Road.
Okay.
I let my license lapse back in 2020 when I moved, relocated to Florida, stayed with the same company that I did my apprenticeship through.
You-
I'm just looking for,
I'm gonna stop you for a second. You completed your apprenticeship there?
yes, sir.
Okay, continue.
Yep, I had all my OJTs. I had my journeyman's license through the city of Erie back in 2017. And when I relocated at the end of 2020, I paid my last journeyman license fee, and then from there off, I let it lapse. So I'm looking for reinstatement for that. Recently moved back to Erie this past month. Still working for the same company and looking to continue to grow on my education and hopefully obtain my master's license in the near future.
Okay. Hang tight 1 second. His lapse is less than 5 years. So, do you have any problem paying the
No, sir.
back fees?
I don't see that being a problem, right? Because in the code enforcement, it's double the fees, right?
It's double the fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the fee is, I'm willing to take care of that.
Okay.
Is it your intent to stay then? I mean.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my intent is to, I moved to Florida with the company and then had another position open up here between cost of living in Florida and the opportunity up here and family. We decided to relocate back, so I'm looking to continue my education and be able to contribute to the company in the future here.
Okay. That seems above board to me.
Okay.
And then you're gonna continue, you said you're looking to get your master's.
Yes, I want to start, obviously, City of Erie, and from there on, we have location in Florida as well, so I'm looking to obtain that licensing as well.
Just a question about, you said you moved in 2019 to Florida, I believe?
2020, end of 2020, October 2020, so I paid the fee when I got the form in the mail, and then between moving and multiple addresses, I never notified the City of Erie of my new address, so I never had the paperwork and neglected to reach out on my own.
When did you obtain your journeyman's license?
2017.
Okay.
Is there anything in the ordinance or code enforcement that says a time frame on a lapse?
I don't think it's spelled out.
I don't think there is,
It's not spelled out, but,
other than double your fees if you've
when the
missed.
board was, when we put the board together, and he said anything over 2 years, he was gonna turn it over to the board
Okay.
for them to make the decision.
I mean,
So we decide ultimately.
yeah.
So you
I mean,
moved
if-
there in October of 2020 to Florida, and you moved back when?
June this year.
June of 20.
Has the code changed much in 5 years?
So-
There's,
So
In the
when I
electrical
was, Florida was on 2017 code, so I adopted that as I was overseeing the business down there. And then January 2020, they adopted the 2020 code. So I'm current up to
Their codes are
2020.
completely different though down there. I know that.
There's a lot that's different. It's a lot more in-depth, especially with the FEMA regulations that they
Right.
have down
Yep.
there. So I've self-taught that. I've done seminars to be current with that. Down in Florida, you do a lot of design work for permitting. So, I mean, everything that I've done has been dealing directly with the code officials between City of Naples, Collier County, Lee County, Sarasota County, applying for our permits, giving drawings, load calculations, all of those things we were required to do. And then I was overseeing the entire office. There was probably about 40 employees down there that I was responsible for making sure that we were compliant. And to this date, I don't think I've ever failed an inspection without minor remarks, but I stay pretty current with all those codes and updates.
okay.
So I'm seeing there's about 3.5 years you worked as a journeyman electrician in Erie and held a license. And then you said you're going to be looking for your master's coming up in the future at some point.
Yeah, at some point, I'd like to start studying for
Okay.
that test.
I just wanted to see that there was a note, because of this lapse, if he pays back fees, that it's noted from 2020 until June of '24, that those hours, journeyman hours, would they still count if he was working out of state and not holding a journeyman's license, you know what I mean? So-
Right, but him coming back here after 3.5 years, by the time he hit 6 months, he hit the number of hours he would
Okay.
need
Yeah.
total.
Okay.
So that's kind of a moot point in a
And I
way.
was
I don't
wondering
see
about
any
the
issues.
masters, like if that was something you're gonna apply for.
Is
Not,
there-
I mean, it would be a goal to, I would like to start studying it. I don't have any set plans to take that this year even yet. I'd like to
Okay.
On the
take some.
electrical end, is there continuing education for electricians?
Sure there
Required
is.
Are they required?
But it's
in
not
there?
required, as
Okay.
far as I.
I didn't know if it was
Not
required.
in our UCC code, doesn't require.
Okay.
So,
Pennsylvania does not.
Yeah,
I don't
that's-
see any objection
I
to
don't.
reinstating Mr. Lobaugh's license, so if anyone wants to entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Schaaf,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Reeves. Any questions on the motion? Any questions on the motion? Being that there is none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Please pay your back fees. You can
Thank
speak
you.
with Christie.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Sounds like Florida's a lot more strict than
They are.
Pennsylvania.
They're no joke, dude.
Yeah, well, that's because
Well,
they
where
have all
he
those
was,
carpetbaggers
Collier
coming
County
in.
is no joke, dude. They're,
Yeah, I mean, coming in from, previous hurricanes, they had a whole bunch of carpetbaggers coming in. And they literally shut that down,
they literally, if you don't get a permit for an air conditioner there, when you go to sell your house, they come in and make you get a permit for it. Like,
Wow.
they're strict down there.
Yeah.
They're very
Okay.
strict.
Okay, now we're back on the next piece of correspondence. Oh, any other public comment? Being that there's none, the public comment section is closed. Back to more of the correspondence. You can see in the letter here that this contractor is based out of Akron, Ohio. They previously had a license in 2018. They did not renew that license.
That's 6 years. What's the fee? It says 3,200.
Well, it said they applied. Did they even have a
The
license?
master's fee is 300, and if you take 6 years, it's double the fee.
To 28,
That math drives up.
and they let it lapse.
So 300,
Temporary license,
so
though.
you're talking 1,800
It's a good
back
question.
and then double would make it 3,200.
Yes.
But it's over a 5-year period, it's 6 years.
Was that a temporary license, Christie, they held in?
I think, I wasn't here then, but I think that license was obtained, for a job.
So it might have been a temporary, single,
A
one-time permit?
one-time,
No, it wasn't one time, they had a license, they just didn't renew it after.
Who was the license under?
okay.
It's
Mr.
under
David
David
Dice.
Oh, it's under him, okay.
He holds the license.
He's the master.
Yeah.
He had it for 2 years here. And I'm under the impression now that they are trying to apply again because of a job. A bid, a job bid.
Yeah, and then he says we'll continue to pay every year. The
Well,
question is will he?
How you can make these individuals pay their back fees.
Right,
Oh, I
that's
think
what I
he-
was
We're not
thinking.
gonna-
I think they should pay every penny of the back fees, I'll be honest with
Well, and
you.
with that being said, it's been since 2018 since he held a license. How much has the code changed? Should
Yeah.
they retest?
What do you think,
I don't
TJ?
think it's, but they haven't been not in business since then. You
I
know,
agree with
so
that.
if they're, that's the only thing I'm saying. It's not like they've not been in business, they've just been not working here, which,
They've been in the field.
but to Mr. Panitsky's point, how can you
They
make,
just did 2
right,
and they pay their penalty.
And that's what it is in code enforcement, that's why I asked if there's any specific, like, time frame, and there isn't, it's just double the fees,
right?
right?
Bill, was that a motion you made?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'm gonna,
Quick question though, or let's talk about this, if, they could have had the option to put the license in retirement, correct? Or, what do they call that?
it's retired status.
Retired status. Escrow.
Escrow, right, or
So they
probated.
had the option to put their license in escrow and they never chose to.
But
Correct.
we don't know if they were aware of that option. A lot of people aren't aware of it because they're not told.
Is it on the renewal card though? Isn't it an option when you go to renew it? Paperwork?
It's on the renewal form.
Okay.
It is on the paperwork.
I mean, we're gonna set a precedence here. If we already just told 2 guys you gotta pay and then he's been gone 6 years and he doesn't have to pay. That-
No, well, not making him pay is probably, is out of the
Exactly.
question.
He's asking to reinstate his master's license as well as waiving the fee. He's asking a lot. I mean,
Right.
I can maybe say, okay, we'll restate your master's, but to waive the fee is kind of,
I mean, to Mr. Reeves' point, he could have inquired about his status
Sure.
and gone to
Yeah.
retired status, which is 200, I believe, or how much is it now? They changed it. It went from,
It's 100 now.
it's 100, you're correct.
But prior to, it was cheaper because it was considered escrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, escrowed or retired was always like half the cost.
Right,
It was
sure,
20.
that makes sense.
I think
Yeah.
it was
But
$50.
you can't pull a permit on that.
No, you
have to-
can't.
You have to get it up to, quote, regular status to pull a permit. So if you're retired for 6 years, he would have only had paid $600 rather than 3,200.
Well, there's a motion on the floor.
I'll second the motion.
And I'm just gonna add a note to the motion.
Well, I made a motion, but I didn't really say what, I just
Oh.
said motion, so
Make the motion.
I guess, do we have to make a motion? I guess that's my question. Like, make a motion that he has to pay, like, he already has to pay.
Yeah,
So,
Well, he's requesting
That we-
not paying it and getting his masters. So we have to state the motion that, yes, we would reinstate your masters, but you still would have to pay the
Right,
3,200.
it's onus on us by the code office to make the decision, so it should probably be done as a motion. So you would say the motion to get reinstatement is approved pending your payment, and any other stipulations that are required.
make that motion.
Did you get that, Christie? Yeah, and I would just put a note on that to tell Mr. Dyes that moving forward, he should, if he's not working here, he should go into escrow status, just as a note. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Dietrich.
you know, and it's really everybody's responsibility. You know, as a master plumber or master electrician, like, I know I don't wanna lose my license, so I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna call, hey, am I okay? Or something, once a year, right? I mean, a lot of these people are probably licensed in
Well,
a
he
dozen
admits
places.
that he doesn't, he
Yeah.
admits that he didn't renew it because
He didn't think
he
he had
doesn't
work.
normally do work here.
Exactly. So now he wants to come in and do work. Now, if it's just a one-time thing, wouldn't he just apply for a temporary?
Well, he had a
Well, no.
license.
Not after, if this motion passes, he'll be reinstated.
Well, no, I understand that,
Right.
but he could have come and just said, I'm just gonna do one job, do a temporary, and left it at that.
Maybe he's not.
It's
I don't know.
probably more advantageous for him to retain his license, more than likely.
He's got more work.
Right.
I don't know what kind of work he does, but
Commercial, industrial.
Is there any more discussion on this motion that's on the floor? Any questions on the motion? Any questions on the motion? Being that there's none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes to reinstate Mr. Dyes with his back fees paid. Okay, I don't have this page. Oh, I do.
I know.
I'm not real sure what's going on here, but
he was in Florida, Orlando.
He wants a
then
plumbing
Newcastle,
license?
Delaware.
he's asking for a plumbing license, is that correct? Yeah?
Journeyman.
Okay. So, I'm not sure, Christie, he just wants us to, I guess what I'm seeing here is he's not asking to take an exam, he's asking us to give him a license, is that accurate? Is that accurate? Okay.
Certified helper.
He's a certified plumber's helper with Puerto
Department
Rico.
of Puerto Rico.
So he doesn't hold a current apprenticeship and/or journeyman in Florida or Maryland.
Not that it shows in any of his documentation.
So the problem is we had this before. We don't reciprocate
No.
with other jurisdictions.
Well, it doesn't
So-
appear that he has anywhere that even if we did reciprocate, he would, it said he was a certified helper in Puerto Rico, but
Correct.
I don't think that's a license. I
No,
think it-
plus he doesn't have anything in Florida or Maryland.
So where does he live?
let me see if it says. Well, the bottom line is, he's never been registered with the city. He doesn't have any hours working under a certified master plumber of the city of Erie. So he doesn't have the hours of on-the-job training that was required, which is 8,000. So, I mean, this is, he doesn't meet any of the criteria to be given, you know, to be even eligible to take the exam for a journeyman plumber.
I don't even know what, he's got a college in Puerto Rico, and I don't know what that even says.
Oh, it's a graduation certificate, but it doesn't,
No, it doesn't.
it's still not, it still doesn't meet the,
He's completed the requirements of the program. What program? It
Right.
doesn't,
Plumeria.
oh, plumeria, yeah,
Yeah.
plumbing.
right, but
Okay,
regardless,
so he went to school for plumbing, but
right,
it's not a certified
it's not,
apprenticeship and/or,
no, we don't recognize it. So, I would say that this
I would-
is be a motion to deny this.
I would move to deny
Okay,
his request for journeyman's license.
Based on requirements.
I've only spoken to him via email, and the reason why he's trying to acquire one is because the company that he's going to be working for is going to be moving to Erie, but no one at his company holds a license with Erie.
Yeah.
well, they'd have to have a master's
I
license.
had that discussion with him, and I also informed him that because you don't hold a license in any other jurisdiction, we don't reciprocate, but you don't even hold a license nowhere else.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so Mr. Sessler made the motion to deny the,
Second.
seconded,
He previously worked for Roto-Rooter, but he didn't hold a license when he worked for Roto-Rooter.
Yeah, they're not
most people
plumbers.
don't.
Yeah, right.
They're not
Most people-
plumbers.
Yeah, it's mostly a lot of drain cleaning, which doesn't require a license. So the motion was made and seconded by Mr. Panitsky.
Correct.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Any question on the motion? So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The denial motion passes. Mr. Sessler.
Yeah, I mean, he has to, you just have to give him the paperwork that says, this is what we require. Let him figure it out, because
He's not even gonna be able to work.
he's working for a non-master
Yeah.
licensed in the city of Erie anyway.
That company's not even gonna be able to.
Yeah, they
Can't
can't even work
operate,
here, so even if the company moves here, they would have to get a license, a master's license.
Correct. Next. Michael Menninger. I believe he's looking for an electrical license. Okay. Three. Okay, here's the problem I have with this. It shows that for the past 2 years, Mr. Menninger has worked for Simonian Electric, which is all fine. And we had this discussion a couple meetings ago about the educational section, but the problem is this, that, and I'm gonna just use the plumber's apprenticeship program as an example. in order for the plumber to take the examination, they must have the 8,000 hours of on-the-job training and the educational piece, if it exists. There's one program that has the educational piece. So in order to meet 8,000 man-hours, unless you're working a heck of a lot of overtime, how many years is that on a typical?
4.
It's 4, right? So they're trying, it's confusing where it says that they must have the minimum of 4 years, but it spells out in the beginning of the application that you must have the 8,000 man-hours on the job training. So this applicant only has 2 years or 4,000 hours of on-the-job training, but he has a certificate from EIT, which is not recognized by any apprenticeship standard for the state. So I think they're misinterpreting what it says in, what page is that, Christie? They're misinterpreting what it says.
Page 3.
Now,
Is it page 3?
When did he receive his apprenticeship from the city?
20, ask Christie, you'll know. It says June 2022. Yeah. It says, yeah, that's what it says.
So, how in the world did he do 8,000 hours?
He couldn't have possibly done that.
Could he have done it before the schooling or no? How long was he employed with
Graduated.
Sonoma?
No,
high school
he
in
was
20.
his resume says he was a driver for DoorDash from 19 to present.
Yeah.
And then he was a foreman for a disaster restoration company,
Oh, yeah, I see that.
and then an
See-
office manager at a lawn care
See,
company.
right there, it says employment under supervision of a master's license for 4 years, level education, or a degree in the respective field and 2 years of field experience.
He's not
With
employed for
appropriate
4
level of
years.
certification from a recognized independent body accepting by the board. Well, we're not accepting EIT.
Yeah,
So
it's
right
not,
there, that's the premise that we're about. We're not accepting that EIT was, so he could do 2 years of field experience.
right,
of his
because if you look at subsection D, when no apprenticeship program exists, applicants must show proof of employment under the supervision of a master license holder for a minimum of 4 years and has a level of education comparable to the apprenticeship program, or has a degree in their respective field and 2 years field experience. But there is a program that exists that is a state certified program. That's my point.
Right.
Where EIT is not,
Right.
it's not
But that's the
accepted.
premise that we're setting this on, that
Right.
the independent certifying body accepting by the board, well, we're not accepting, that's what you go back to them and say, we're not accepting
Right.
EIT as a certification. Yes, you have 2 years' experience, but we're not accepting your education.
Right,
So-
and compare it like this, the plumber's program that's registered with the state,
Right,
the plumber apprentices can't take their exam until the 4th year because they have to meet the 8,000 hour requirement.
Sure.
Remember we talked about that?
Right, right.
A while ago, Mr. Armstrong was bringing that up?
yep.
So,
No,
they're misinterpreting,
Well, what I'm saying is, I can see what they're saying. We're going with 2 years of field experience because we have an appropriate level of certification of a recognized education, and we're not recognizing it. So that's where the premise of this is.
right,
If it had been an approved by the, the
a
city.
state-approved program.
Right, if
Yeah.
that's approved, and he does that education with 2 years' experience, then you can do 2 years of experience with the education, but he doesn't have it.
But I literally think you can't complete that program in 2
Yeah,
years.
that's what I'm saying.
On top of that, if you look at when he was at EIT, it wasn't a full 2 years. I caught that earlier. It's not 20,
Start date 21, graduated 6/23 of 20, yeah.
It's not a
even
full 2 years.
It's not even 2 years.
No.
What schools are state approved in Erie County?
For electrical?
Yeah.
You would have to ask Mr. Ziwi or Mr. Newber. Well, I know the IBEW is a registered.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that, but there is a, what do they call that thing, Billy, do you remember? It's,
I just,
Yeah.
my information.
I think it's IEC.
I was
I think
gonna say
that's what-
IEC,
I think it's IEC,
Okay.
yeah.
which is what Justin had done, the guy that was here earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
His was approved through the IEC.
Right.
So he did 4 years of education and work, but actually longer.
right.
Looking at this EIT form, it looks like he only has 80 hours in one term. 1 year, he got 80 hours, and another year, he got 77 hours. If you scroll down a little, Christie, the hours are at the bottom, right
Yeah,
there.
right there. Credit hours earned 80.
But even if you were gonna misinterpret it and say it's 2 years and 2 years, it's
It
still.
doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
So, would EIT, any of their programs be state accredited, out of curiosity?
I,
Or like,
I
yeah, I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
I don't either, I'm just, for future applications too.
you can get a welding certificate
Yeah.
from them. I don't know what
much.
value that has.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can
I
get
mean,
from
we
that.
take
Yeah.
people from EIT all the time, and, I mean, they're first year apprentices still.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have any,
It,
Yeah.
it doesn't
They-
count credit
They-
towards
they
an
don't have-
electrical
They get some
license.
basic
Right.
working knowledge, but they don't have any on-site
they have
actual.
some, yeah, they have some theory.
Right.
As far as, you know,
I had a HVAC guy the same way. I mean, he knew how to put 6-inch pipe together, but he had no idea, how to figure the run, or, that elbow's added to the length. And, I mean, there was a lot of basic stuff. I'm like, dude, you can't do that, you know?
Well,
I don't think that they do anything on the air side in their
Yeah.
HVAC program. Their HVAC program's all troubleshooting, electrical, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not that great.
I think this is pretty clear,
Yeah.
on this one, so if somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll make the motion until he has the 8,000 hours, and we're not accepting EIT's accreditation,
Yeah.
that he has to keep going.
I'll second it.
Okay. The motion on the floor is that he must meet the 8,000 hours, and there's a second by Mr. Reeves. Any questions or discussions? Any questions or discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. What do we got, one more or two more?
3 more.
3 more?
McLeod, Reed, and Stezoweski.
Okay.
Yeah, they do that. I just wish I could train one to put a string on his tail and have him climb through the wall for me to come out the other side. It'd be a lot easier sometimes. Training those mouths, those nieces, are too hard. Sorry, I don't have a battery in my pocket.
I got him. You gotta search your email by the last name, it's weird. Cause she sends them as she gets them.
Okay.
They both have EIT experience and they do not have the 4 years.
Well, which one are we looking at first, Mr.
Jonathan McLeod.
McLeod? Okay.
And actually, I'm looking at his application for the verification, the last 25 through 30, it's not even verified.
Well, he's not he's not asking to take
Oh,
the master's
yep.
exam.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
It's for masters.
yeah. He didn't sign the application, so
No, he didn't sign
there's
it.
that. Page 9, he didn't sign.
Yeah.
Again, this is the same situation as the previous application. He, according to his resume, where I think I just.
It's literally identical almost. Here's the EIT work.
He worked at Simonian Electric for, where is it? How'd I lose my space here?
Who are we
he's been working,
McLeod, Jonathan McLeod, electrical,
It's upside down.
applying
Yeah,
for
no.
journeyman.
well, hold on a second
I
here.
can't get it to pull up on my phone though.
Oh, who's his verifier?
Who is his verified? It's Bill Fierce, first,
Bill
First one.
First.
retired.
Okay, this guy works at Shulcom.
Oh,
If it's Bill First, that's Shulcom Electric. Yeah, apprentice electrician. Has he been registered since 2020? It says that he's been apprentice since 2020, but I don't think that's right, is it, Christie?
For McLeod,
Yes.
he will be completing his 4th year this year.
Of his
Okay.
apprenticeship.
Okay, so at the end of the year, he'd be eligible.
He's asking for,
But he's asking for the 2 years and 2 years EIT is what he's asking.
Wait a minute, so if he's been working at, so in other words, he's been working there since 2020, but, so this will be his 4th year, and he has the education, so he wants to take the exam.
He wants to take the education on the 2 years, but if your guys are saying that you're not accepting EIT, then he's gonna have to complete his 4th year and not be eligible until January.
Correct.
correct.
So but it's, I mean, how far are we from January, literally? It's August now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, at this point, finish his apprenticeship.
he'll meet the 8,000 hours
Right.
at the end of
He
December.
finishes his apprenticeship,
Right.
quote, then he's eligible for his journeyman, just like,
All right, so let's make this easy.
I have one quick question though. Christie, sorry, can an electrician that's in a retired status be a verifier?
He's not retired.
He came out of retired
Oh,
status.
okay, yeah, because it says retired right up where he signed.
He came out of retirement,
But did he come out of retirement?
For Shalcom?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah. We talked about that
Okay, yeah.
last year.
yeah, because he was here because the owner,
right, I remember Shalcom.
Right,
right, doesn't have a master's.
So he found a master.
right.
So he got a master's,
Right.
so he could continue all his work that he's got.
Yep.
I think I can make this one really easy. We'll say, I'll make the motion that Mr. McLeod will be eligible to take his exam after January 1st. Is there a second? Who was that? Mr. Panitsky. Any further discussions or?
I have one quick question, sorry.
Yes.
The education, that's okay that he has? Or he'll have the 4 years? Because this guy went to EIT too. I'm gray on that.
Right, but he has the 8,000 hours.
Okay,
But
so-
we don't have, I
Yeah.
wish we had the chief electrical inspector here to ask that question.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the precedent of,
But I know he meets 8,000 hours.
yes.
Okay.
So I don't know, we don't have anyone to ask about that.
He's doing the same thing on.
I mean, we could table
The
this,
next guy-
we could
The next
just,
guy's doing the same thing though. He's only worked there for 2 years, he's asking for his
Right.
journeyman because he has 2 years plus his
well,
quote,
that's
education.
automatic, we know that. But this one, we could table until next month's meeting if you guys wanted, just so we can talk to the chief electrical inspector.
Because this is what, the third guy that went to EIT?
This guy's on the precipice, yeah, he went to EIT, but he's on the precipice of meeting
8,000.
8,000 hours.
Yes. His time.
So maybe I'll just withdraw my motion, and then we'll table this application,
Let's do
so,
that.
does that sound good?
I think so. I'm a little gray on that education.
Yeah, it is, but the other ones are easy to,
Yeah, they didn't have 8,000 hours.
Right.
so I'll withdraw that. Does everyone agree to table this till next month? Is there any objections?
I agree.
Okay. We'll table Mr. McLeod's application in, time so we can, speak with the chief electrical inspector. Because no one except for Christie is here from the code office. Okay, moving on. Mr. Reed, this one is the same as, not Mr. McLeod, but the previous.
Yeah, exactly the same. He's got 2 years' experience with his EIT. He's asking for journeyman's with the
Let me see.
EIT.
Why are all these coming up?
I don't know. I think it's,
EIT telling these people to
Yeah, we've never had
I think
EIT, that's
it's,
what.
I think it's because the language is, they're misinterpreting what the language is.
Well, there again, they're thinking that EIT has been accepted by the city of Erie as a.
Accredited.
Accredited, and.
Well, that's what
and
I'm
it-
wondering is if EIT's actually telling.
They could be.
by the
Oh,
way.
they could be.
Has anything changed with EIT that they have been accredited? I don't know this.
Not-
But
That'd be a
there's
question
only, I
for
mean,
the
he's got the
electrical
same
inspector.
exact, as Michael, exact same 80 hours, from EIT. He doesn't have any accreditation there. and-
Again, even if we accepted it, he doesn't have a full 2 years of
Correct.
education.
Yes.
Exactly.
How many hours did he have at EIT?
80.
80 hours?
That, well, at the bottom there, it's the same as before. Total credit hours earned, 80. Total credit hours.
I don't know what a credit hour is. It could
GPA
be-
credit hour is 80.
That could be a year or two. I don't know what one credit hour
How could
equals.
it be,
Right.
how could it be 80 hours?
Well, there again,
Spring of
I think
21.
Okay.
they only
Right,
did,
spring of
they only
It's about a
did,
year.
they only did 4 terms. So if you did 20, 20, 20,
That's
20,
probably what it is.
that's all it
Each
is.
term's 20 credits.
20 credit, and you're only getting, spring, summer, fall of 21, and then he had winter of 22 and spring of 22. That's it.
That's not a full 2 years.
No.
No.
Okay, well,
Plus, the biggest thing is it's not accredited.
Yeah, it's not
What-
accredited.
If he had 180 hours, it's still not an accredited apprenticeship program, so it doesn't qualify. So
Right.
it's the same as Michael's.
my way of logically thinking about it is that they should use the accredited program, because it says in the ordinance that only when no program exists, but the program exists, that's
Right.
the registered program. You follow what I'm
I
saying?
follow what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. And Justin did do the EIT, or, not the
IEC,
IEC. He did do it.
that's the accredited.
So he's got 4 years plus work experience, and he did the correct education.
Did the
So
correct school.
he did it correctly. These other two are trying to, I did EIT, and I worked for 2 years, so I should be eligible.
Well, I think that maybe the language is a
Yeah,
little
someone's selling it to him from EIT.
I think maybe the language on the application might be a little unclear. Maybe we can address that. We can have the city solicitor address that, because it is a little bit confusing when you read it unless you're knowledgeable about, because you have to refer back to a different section where it says you have to meet the 8,000 hours,
Right.
which, you can't,
I think it'd also be helpful for everybody in the future if code enforcement could somehow give a availability about who's accredited and who's not, maybe. Or,
Yeah.
a list of accredited schools.
Right.
well, I think that,
That says, hey, this program, we accept
Right.
it.
Here's a program that's accredited by the city of Erie.
I somehow have a feeling that will get thrown back onto us.
Well, I don't know who's accredited. I mean, you know a couple, but I don't know.
Right. Well, IEC, I believe, is, but we don't have anyone from any electricians here to ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I believe
Maybe
that IEC is. Okay, so, Mr. Sussler, do you want to make a motion?
It would be the same as Michael's. We would move to not accept his educational hours and that requirement of 4 years / 8,000 hours needs to be fulfilled.
Right. Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Panitsky. Any discussion or questions on the motion? Any discussion or questions on the motion? Being that there's none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
I just find it weird we had all these EITs out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
I
they're
think,
getting information
There
from someone.
again,
Either-
I think EIT is pushing that and saying, you've completed your 2 years of education, you
Yeah.
should apply for your journeyman.
well,
Maybe.
either that or maybe it's not that. Maybe someone
coincidence.
needs to have a conversation with Rick Simonian,
Yeah.
because I think
It's only
maybe,
from him.
maybe both of those applicants were from Simonian.
Right,
So I don't know if maybe Rick is telling them that, or.
Could be, yeah.
It could be.
it could be.
I don't
but
know.
There again,
Justin works for Simone as well.
yeah, but
Right.
he's also been an apprentice for 4 years,
For the-
and he has an approved education, so why didn't these guys do the same education as what Justin did, you know? I could see that, because a lot of times these guys all go together and go to class together. Plumbers do the same thing.
Right.
Hey, we're all gonna go to class together, da, 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 so you go through the program.
But just,
I don't know why he doesn't fulfill it with the proper education.
well, just food for thought, like, I think that IEC program is 4 years. So by the time they got 2 years in, and they had their 8,000 hours, they'd be eligible anyway.
Yeah, right.
You follow what I'm
Sure,
saying there?
Sure, exactly.
So that's just food for thought. We have one last applicant, Tim Stieski.
Stezoweski.
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 I apologize, Tim. Do you know him?
Yes.
Okay.
Holy smokes, he was an apprentice for 13 years. Wow, I guess he fulfilled that.
Yeah, look, he worked at Reeves Plumbing.
Sure did.
13 years apprentice.
Why would you not take your exam?
So, yeah, I didn't.
Why would you wait?
13 years as an apprentice, that's a long time.
I don't think that the ordinance even allows you to do that anymore. And the 8 years is the maximum,
Current
right?
License is a journeyman.
Yeah, 19 is journeyman.
He's all paid up and everything, he's good
So he's applying for,
to take the journeyman, and he wants to take the journeyman exam.
oh, really?
Oh, the master exam, my
master.
apologies.
Master.
He currently holds a journeyman and a mechanical license with CMU.
He
So 5 years he's had journeyman.
wants
So,
master plumber.
do you have his application? I can't pull it up.
You wanna look at it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure.
My thing, he was working for TJ's Plumbing for a long time, correct?
Correct.
And I don't know their situation with their master's license.
It's
Under
held
that
by
time.
Justin Romansky.
You say TJ didn't hold it.
Well, I know that, that's
Yeah.
Justin Robert
Well, I
Romansky.
don't think Mr. Langer has a master's license.
I don't think so either, not that I'm aware of. And I know they didn't have a license for a little while, because when the previous code enforcement officer had ejected them from the city for not having a master for a little bit. I don't know that whole story, but I do know they were masterless,
Well,
possibly. Is that true, Christie?
I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Okay.
that's a question.
It may have been prior to
It was definitely prior to
when I started.
maybe even you.
Yeah.
So,
It's, to my knowledge, Romansky's held it for a number of years.
okay,
So this is probably why
probably. He's
this
been-
individual wants
Yeah.
to take his master.
I don't know.
Everything's above board on his verifier. He meets the hours requirements by far.
So my
Sure you don't
question
wanna
is he taking
No.
over, is he taking over to be the master for
I
TJ's?
I have no clue.
I have a feeling, I don't know anything about their master that they have. How many years did he register with TJ's Plumbing, Romansky?
It has to be at least 10,
Oh, really?
maybe. I think it's close to 10.
Okay, well, that means he's got the time then, under a master then, I guess.
So he said he's been working for TJ since 20
Actually, he was under me, so I mean, he had the,
before then.
anyways, he had the hours probably under me for 5 years.
Yes.
I don't see any objections.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Motion to approve this application. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Panitsky. Any questions or discussions? Any questions or discussions? Being that there's none, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. Just under a note under old business, Letters were mailed out to the following applicants informing of their applications being approved: Mackenzie Heightenreiter, Jacob Odell, Hunter Lewis, Shane Spinoil, and Brett Gonda.
They have all passed their exams and they're now licensed.
Oh, good for them. They have all passed.
Last one today. They have all passed already.
Congratulations.
Well, if no one has any other business,
Get a gold star.
I'll take a motion for adjournment. Motion by Mr. Panitsky, seconded by Mr. Sessler. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We'll see you Tuesday, September 3rd at 1 PM.